You didn't know this for bringing tonight? Probably.
When you send? You didn't send out an email? Or?
Send everything. Even though they didn't let me send out an email until 20
Just in time. We waited for you, and now we're starting.
Stop, Hashem, God bless you. Is this for
The Mittler Rebbe, the Chag HaGeula.
beautiful? Beautiful. Thank you so much.
L'chaim, the Mittler Rebbe had a kapella, and he had Kazakh, and he had a kapella. They would sing songs, and they would jump on the horses. We'll talk about it in a minute.
What's a kapella?
This was a choir, but this was the famous song, the song that was called the Mittler Rebbe song.
Wow.
It's called the Mittler Rebbe's kapella. Moshe, sit on the table. Yeah, you've done it. Yeah,
We get first.
yeah. Give Rabbi Friedman and Mordechai.
Thank you.
You give Mordechai.
Very good. What's my sorry?
Yes. L'chaim, Mordechai.
Benjamin.
Bench you didn't get?
I didn't.
Okay. Here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Give Benja.
Okay. All right. I will go.
Chaim, l'chaim, v'levrocha. Sefer HaTorah, the Mittler Rebbe said, from the Alter Rebbe, the Alter Rebbe went to his Rebbe. He was married already 14 years, and he had daughters, but he didn't have a son. He wanted to have a son, and he told him a posuk. Mamei Yizake nar es orchoi. Mamei Yizake, how is a yid zoich? Mamei Yizake nar to have a son, and orchoi you should have orchim. You should have orchim. And the Alter Rebbe said that that he had intense conversations with the Maggid the 3 days before his Estalkus. The Maggid told him that 3 days before his Estalkus, he's not seeing any Gashmi. He said, just see the Dvar Hashem that's Machaya, everything. And he told him he wants to tell him the Soid of a Shalom Zocher. He wants to tell him the Soid of a Bris Milah. And he gave him a brocha that he would have a son. And he told them that he wants that they should name a son for him, for the Rebbe. For the Maggid wanted that the son should have his name. And the Maggid told them, Chazoin Oivadya, that a Yid that's a Eved Hashem has a Chazoin. So he said that he knew that he was going to pass away he's going to pass away, and that his son should carry his name. And he told them, that that 2 days after the bris is Yechayenu Miyamayim. Mashlishi Yechimenu V'Nichri Lefonov is in the 3rd day. And after the stalkus of the Maggid, the Alter Rebbe had a son. The next year, the bris of the Alter Rebbe had a son, which now is 250 years ago. Tovkuf Lamadalad, now it's Tovkuf Peidalad. It's 250 years ago. And B'Shas he was born, the Alter Rebbe took out a piece of material that his Rebbe gave him before he passed away, and that they should wrap up the child the first time when the baby, they wash up the child and they wrap up the baby as the baby's born. They should wrap up with this bad kodesh, with a piece of bad that was given by the Heilige Maggid, and then was the bris Tezayin Kislev. And then the Alter Rebbe traveled to be with his Chavedim by the Menachem Mendel of Haradok, the Pia Oretz, which the Alter Rebbe considered sort of as a Rebbe, a Chaver Talmud, and all the other Talmidim in the Maggid were there, and it was for the Yortzeit, for the first Yortzeit. And the Alter Rebbe told over the Torah that the Maggid told him on his Estalkus, and then he understood then what it means, because the 3 days that his first Yortzeit would be B'Yom HaShlishi, 3 days after the bris of the Mittler Rebbe. And the Mittler Rebbe, the Rebbe told the story about the Mittler Rebbe when he was a little child. He had a koch in the story. He told it in one of the early years that the Mittler Rebbe had his Malamed, Reb Avrom, story in Hayom Yom about the Malamed. Alter Rebbe said, let's switch off responsibility. And it was an Elul. The Malamed had a neighbor, and the neighbor was a doctor in town. So how many medicines did the doctor have? A, B, and C. So the doctor, he just put in different bottles.
Right.
So
It's a good one.
What?
Take it from the pharmacist. So
change the names. Oh my God! I heard it from you.
Oh my God.
So the Mittler Rebbe was a little boy, he's sitting and learning with his Malamet. And the neighbor came in and he said, Oi, Shentif and Elul and nicht gestellt the Stavkis, whatever right at the end of the summer, he used to go to the river and harvest these little animals that are bloodsuckers. And Mamela, when the medicine A, B, and C, Kanita was to take out bloodletting, and he would have they would. I mean, this is even today. I think there is such a story. Yeah, but yeah, Bisman Talmud right. So Philip, yeah. So he'd fill up the jars. He'd fill up the jars.
Wow.
With these alukos. Yeah, and they would use it for a whole year. Anyway, the Mittler Rebbe came home after he had this day in school with his Rebbe, and the Alter Rebbe's house. There was sitting a few of the Alter Rebbe Siddim were talking, and they were very happy. They came for the Yom Tov, almost Rosh Hashanah, and they came to the Alter Rebbe. And they were feeling really good, and they were talking. And someone said something, and everyone broke out in the laughter. And at exactly that minute, the Mittler Rebbe walked into the house. Oh, boys, right. So the little boy said to them, "Shentifin El, nicht gestellte Pastavkis, that's already deep in Elul, and where the." And he explained. He was a little kid. He said that there is a person has a retichas adamim. The blood is cooking too much,
right?
And therefore the doctor says you got to get rid of a little bit that cooking. The blood is cooking too much. You got to take out some of that cooking blood. So it's here, Ayid, in Avodas Hashem, Shentifin Elul, and we're the bloodsuckers. So and it's a joke. So he went to his room, whatever, his bedroom, to do what he needed to do. In the meantime, the Chassidim thought that this was a word he must have heard from his father, from the Alter Rebbe. And he said the word and he explained it. That was the Gashmis. It was the season that the doctors were going to go out to harvest these. But Baruchni is the Yid has to take a lesson from this. That the person has the cooking blood, and it's time to lower it. So they spoke about it a lot. The Alter Rebbe heard that they're saying in his name, his word. He said it's not true. I never said such a thing. My son, and he called him at Rebbe. He found out. So the Alter Rebbe was the Alter Rebbe was thrilled about this. Sure. The Alter Rebbe was thrilled. The Alter Rebbe said that this is the Derech HaKodesh that we learn from the Baal Shem Tov, to learn a lesson, everything in Avodas Hashem. Everything we see in here is a lesson of Avodas Hashem. So he was very proud that his little boy, he heard this from the doctors. Not stop. Oh, his Rebbe and the doctor are talking, and the neighbors.
That's a message.
He got a message from it. He heard it as Malmaila, Mazak Malmaila, and that's what he heard. The Alter Rebbe said that he's maftiach. He gives a guarantee to every person that will live this way, raise his children this way, he'll have nachas for many generations. And the Rebbe finished the story that they said that year, the Yojna, that there was you could mop the floor with the tears that the Siddim had from this word. And at Simchas Torah, everyone's shoes were ripped from such simcha that going in the ways of the Baal Shem Tov, that it's like a guarantee. The Alter Rebbe said, guaranteed, if you teach your children this way to learn a lesson, everything in Avodas Hashem.
Wow.
So the simcha was unbelievable. So L'chaim, the Mittler Rebbe is it's 250 years. Mittler Rebbe. It's also a Chag HaGeula for the Mittler Rebbe. It's also a Chag HaGeula for the Mittler Rebbe. And I was just looking at this. There's a booklet here about the Mittler Rebbe. So the Rebbe apparently wanted they should find the original documents. There was an accusation against the Mittler Rebbe. Mm-hmm. And apparently in 1994 they found there was like a window of opportunity, really. Communism fell apart, and a lot of archives were opened up, and the Rebbe was really, because the Rebbe wanted, there was a letter that the Mittler Rebbe wrote to the governor of Vitebsk about the whole case, and it has over there that picture Shabbos I was talking about with Chochma bin Adas, Chesed Gevurah Tiferes, Netzach Hod Yesod. That whole that whole picture is there's a picture of that in Bat Kodesh. Anyway, they found the documents. The Nakuda really. The bottom line is that you just see the sad story. Yidden are always under such pressure. We don't know, Baruch Hashem, in our generation, we have no idea what there was the laws. So this person who was a misnagid wanted to make trouble for the Mittel Rebbe. And bottom line was that the Mittel Rebbe is collecting tremendous. It was a lie. I explained Shabbos. It was a thing with the document that he found from, but it was how to translate it because the Jews are not allowed to collect money because they're not going to if they government. Yeah, sure, because all the money the Jews make have to go to pay the taxes. But if the communities will raise money out, it's just sad to see the whole. Like you want to yell, you want to scream, you want to hit every Russian in the head. Like what can there's laws against the Jews, like the old draconian laws. Bottom line is that this was an incredible pressure on the Mittel Rebbe, and there was a Chag HaGeula. Yud Kislev is a Chag HaGeula. So in the Sikha, the Rebbe said, on the one hand, so it's a Chag HaGeula for the Mittel Rebbe. Why is it for me? Oh, the Gemara says that if it's a family or a rabbi, you make a bracha, barsha nesla tzadikim. So it's a connection to us because Mittel Rebbe is our Rebbe. But the Rebbe said, on a deeper level, it's not. It's whenever Jews come somewhere, the goyim always or other Yidden Rachmana litzlan, when Yidden try to expand, try to develop spiritual thoughts, and then there's goyim or Rachmana litzlan from Yidden that they try to make it difficult. So really, for the Alter Rebbe and the Mittel Rebbe, that's the story. It's not making a difficulty for the Alter Rebbe per se, for the Mittel Rebbe. The Geula is for the Torah of the Alter Rebbe, the Shita of the Alter Rebbe, the Shita of the Mittel Rebbe. It's very hard. It's very hard to when you're under duress to develop a Shita, develop a way. Today I was talking to someone. And the person said, "Wow, I started learning Tanya, and I love Tanya, and it's mamish, it's changing my life, and like mamit, like in an incredible way. A person is considering to keep more mitzvahs and so on. So Tanya's changing my life." I said, that's was a lot of resistance to this Tanya. It wasn't just someone wrote up a book in a couple of years, and there was tremendous resistance, tremendous resistance to Tanya. It was Mesidus Nefesh and the Alter Rebbe and the Mittel Rebbe. So really, it's a Chag HaGeula for the Torah of the Alter Rebbe. It's a Chag HaGeula for the Torah of the Mittel Rebbe. Just like in Matan Torah, it was true that you didn't have to go through the suffering, but the Matan Torah was given after they went out of Mitzrayim. True, there was a Kura Barzel. This was like a testing ground. Shaloshinu Shmam L'Shen Balbusham, and after 210 years, they became Roi, prepared for Matan Torah. For the point, Matan Torah has to be given in a place of Chebus. Same thing, Torah Sachsidus, in order for it to develop. The Gemara says that Talmud Bavli is called Machshakim Meshivani because they're having a hard time making a living. It's very hard to think. I always like to tell the Gemara says. The Gemara says that Abaya said, I tell this to parents a lot. You should know this. That the Gemara says in Erevin that Abaya said, my mother tells me, do me a favor, Abayala, bring me the sour cream, bring me a bowl of sour cream, whatever, not sour cream, something or whatever. Cheese. Yeah. So, Logaris, that day, I can't learn. That's it. That day, I'm all mixed up. So, I like to say that I'm sure Abaya could still learn Daf Yomi that day. Wow. I'm sure he could still do 3 Prakim Rambam. He could still do Chitas that day. There's no Shaila.
There's no Rambam in this time.
But there's no Daf Yomi also. But Garisna, to learn, like we learned yesterday, Abaya said, I wish I learned it 10 years ago. Girsa the Yankasa, to learn it. When your head is we'll talk about it soon a little bit. Your head is here, and half your brain is there, and half of your body is there, and the other half is there. You're all over the place. I can't. So, in order for the Chassidus to develop, it couldn't have been under duress, and the Alter Rebbe is in jail, the Mittler Rebbe is under threat. So the Geula allowed that Chassidus should develop, that we should have the Torah of Chassidus the way we have it today. That's the second point. It's not a Geula for the Alter Rebbe, the Mittler Rebbe, Neshe Nasa L'Rabbi. It's Nes that happened to us because we live with Chassidus, Kehem Chayenu. And the third Nakud that the Rebbe says is a beautiful thing. You can't separate the Alter Rebbe and the Mittler Rebbe from their Torah. It's not just they developed, there's a person that develops a certain way to eat. A lot of Afka, they eat exactly the way they tell other people, but it's a good business. They develop a diet or exercise. There's them, and then there's the products they develop. So it's not Hainu Hach. The Mittler Rebbe, some tzaddik said that the Mittler Rebbe, 30 years he was like he was like a fish in the water. He was swimming in Torah Sanista for 30 years straight. And the Tzemach Tzedek said, my father-in-law, if you cut his finger, blood wouldn't drip. Chassidus would come out. Not blood would drip. Blood wouldn't come out. Chassidus would come out. In other words,
when he was a kid, he's saying this word.
That's what the look is. So Chassidus will come out. In other words, that the Torah, the Alter Rebbe, the Torah, the Mittler Rebbe, and them is not two things. It's not Pliny ben Pliny who develops exercising. He's a trainer, and he comes to your house 5 a.m. to give you a good workout. But he himself, there's him and there's the training that he developed. There's him and there's the diet he developed. The Alter Rebbe and the Mittler Rebbe is not that way. I was reading last week. There's a Yid in Eretz Yisrael, that's like beautiful to see. Where he just published a book on the Kuntas. The Mittler Rebbe wrote a ton of Swanot. You think of the Mittler Rebbe passed away at the age of 54. Mittler Rebbe, when he was under stress because that year, and they say you never in the Ksovim of the Mittler Rebbe, you never see a mistake. There's never a cross out. There's never ever. Besides the beautiful handwriting, you never see a mistake ever.
The speed was unbelievable.
So the Mittler Rebbe, you think about it, he lived 54 years, and he was going, and he said that my father, when he went to, after he was released from prison, he was there for a few months, and he went to daven and Haddij, and he said that his father was 54 the first time he was arrested, and Malmail, they gave him a choice. Does he want to go to Olam HaEmes, or he wants to go through the Yisurim and then live, to continue developing Torah Chassidus? And the Alter Rebbe picked the way of Yisurim. The Mittler Rebbe said, Kenida, he left for his son the other road. So he passed away that year. But then he passed away with incredible Agmas Nefesh, not only a personal, but that was the year that the Russian government introduced the idea of taking little Jewish boys to be cantonists. And the Mittler Rebbe had such Agmas Nefesh, it ate him up alive. But that's what put him down. But at the age of 54, he wrote so many Sforim. One of the Sforim he wrote is Kuntes Spilus. So I never read. You ever read Kuntes Spilus? I never read it. I'm now eager to get into Kuntes Spilus. So just the name itself has always sounded to me strange, because we know that the Mittler Rebbe and his Spilus are like from here to there. The whole idea of the Mittler Rebbe was, there's a story that, by the way, a lot of the stories I'm telling you tonight. There's a Reb Yudel Chitrik wrote a lot of stories, and most of the stories I'm telling you tonight is from Reb Yudel Chitrik. So some of them are sichas, what were we holding? Oh, the Kuntes Spilus. The Kuntes Spilus, unbelievable thing. Like, I always thought the Kuntes Spilus doesn't make sense for the Mittler Rebbe. Mittler Rebbe and Kuntes Spilus. So the story was from Shmuel Groinem that he said that really the Mittler Rebbe, when he was a young child, he used to have unbelievable Spilus. The Alter Rebbe once called him in, and he said, Berel, I'm going to take a stick and I'm going to chase the Spilus out of you. Like, you get all riled up, and so the Mittler Rebbe says, how could you not be in the spore from Oirein Tzoif? So the truth is that the Mittler Rebbe did have tremendous Ispal, yet what we know from the whole idea of the Mittler Rebbe to say this for 18 hours and developed a thought, and that he would sit and you wouldn't be the Alter Rebbe would have with unbelievably spilus. He could end up like the Gemara says, Mamash about Rebbe Akiva, that you would end up Pshuta, like the Gemara describes about Rebbe Akiva, that he'd be rolling over himself from one end of the room to the other. Pshuta, the Alter Rebbe was exactly that way, like the Gemara described Rebbe Akiva. And yet the Mittler Rebbe was not, that the Mittler Rebbe, you couldn't see a spilus on the outside, although that after Rosh Hashanah davening, he was poshet, there was his shtreimel, and his shtreimel, they said, was like, it was, the water was leaking from the top of his shtreimel, like if you exercise after, 45 minutes, and Segeit was good, and Segeit fin ala zayt, so the water was dripping off the shtreimel. But it wasn't nicker on the outside. The spilus. I always couldn't see spilus. Like what's the spilus? I thought so there was last week. This guy Rabbi he's a Rosh Yeshiva somewhere in Eretz Yisrael, and he wrote a sefer on the couldn't see spilus. It's like unbelievable, and he explained that the spilus of here doesn't mean like jumping on the table. We know that the Alter Rebbe had found that there was a boy that came to the Alter Rebbe. And the Alter Rebbe wanted that his son should learn together, the Baron Strashela, and that they were very, very good friends. After his talks with the Alter Rebbe, there was an issue. He thought that he should continue the way of the Alter Rebbe, and some people went and became his Talmidim, and most of them stayed with the Mittler Rebbe. There is a few Svarim published from Baron Strashela. As Chassidim never wanted to look at it because it was like, but the Rebbe had a different attitude to all of that. So, okay, but maybe today, who's looking at it anyway? Today, not, now that it's not the forbidden fruit, no one's looking anyway. But anyway, the Rebbe would have, if you can open up Rabban and Chassidus, the Rebbe is going to smile. The Rebbe, Adarab, Pajalas, go learn the Mittler Rebbe, and then learn a little for dessert, learn a little Rabban and Strashela. So I have talk in the house. As I said, but who opens it?
There was a student.
No, he was a chaver. He was mamish a chaver to the Mittler Rebbe. He was a goin otzum v'chulu. That they said that Isaac Homler went to him to test him out because he thought that maybe he should be talking the Rebbe. I mean, he was a goin otzum at a balance We're not talking about Katal Kanya. We're talking about a goin otzum and the unbelievable, compelling character. So he was sitting at a tish, and all of a sudden, the Rabbi Isaac sees that Poshet is like Ruach HaKodesh, like the man is on fire, full with Ruach HaKodesh, and he was a big Balis Pilus. So he jumped on the table and started to dance, and Rabbi Isaac was like, wow. Eventually, he saw that the Ruach HaKodesh, the fire, the flame had gone, and the Baron is still dancing. The theatrics are good. I added a couple words to the story. So the Isaac had Adela from Tish. So that was it. He went to the Mittler Rebbe. He realized that this was not it. But back to Kunda says Pilus. So the Mittler Rebbe wrote a ton of Svarim, right? And we know that some of the Svarim, like Shari Oida, are like these are the keys for Chassidus. There's 3-4 Svarim that he wrote the keys of Chassidus, and then there's, you gotta know where you're holding the other. Obviously, the Rebbe thinks that you should learn everything. Makes no difference if you think you're holding here or there, but there's few central Svarim that he wrote, and then there's from Teresim and Kuntus Pilus. I always thought means how you're supposed to jump onto the table. Mm-hmm. So, but it doesn't make sense. Why would the Mittler Rebbe write at Kuntus about how you're supposed to jump on the table? That was the opposite of the whole avoid of the Mittler Rebbe. The Mittler Rebbe's avoid was pnimi, was not jumping on the table. But I never bothered to open Kuntus Pilus. I don't know. So apparently, the opposite. Spilus doesn't mean jumping on the table. Spilus means misplot. Like you care about something. You care about something. Like the story I like to tell my Zayda Shmuel David, that they suggested a shidduch for a buckle. So, okay. They said, Zahinke dike, mach ne stois. Ze hat a hoike. Ze mach ne stois, for hunchback. This is halba toibe. She's half deaf. Mach nicht tois. That's a winner schasna mit her. Mach nicht tois. I'm not marrying this girl anyway. What do I care? So if you're not going to marry the girl, obviously you don't care. But if you're going to marry the girl, you would care. So it's an important story. So sometimes people say I'm cool, like a cucumber, because I mean, I come to base Menachem Mendel. I don't care. Yeah, you don't care. You don't care about the whole thing. Therefore, you don't care. But let's. Yeah, these things don't get me upset. I guess I mentioned. Okay, but the things you do care about, so what his spilus means is according to the Middle Rebbe means that you care, you mispoil. It's meaningful to you, and you care about it. You care. That's the kunta says spilus. And whether he talks about like a different neshamas and like 11 roads in avodas Hashem, it's a Torah shlema. So the bottom line, back to the Rebbe, what the Rebbe said in this Farbrengen, the Rebbe said again. So he said one mahalach is why we celebrate on Yud Kislev and Yud Kislev. That's a miracle to our Rebbe. It's a good reason to celebrate. Second thing is it's a miracle for his shita that allowed that shita to develop. That allowed us to have all this chassidus, and we could be healed by Torah Chassidus. Very nice. But the third mahalach that Rebbe said is that the Hainu Hach, that Mittel Rebbe and his Torah are not two different things. The Mittel Rebbe was a living example of his Torah. The Alter Rebbe was a living example of his Torah. They're not two separate things. There's not Mr. Pliny Ben Pliny and the diet he developed. There is the Torah of the Alter Rebbe and the Alter Rebbe. There's the Torah of the Mittel Rebbe and if you cut his finger, you won't see blood. You'll see Kunter Spilus will be coming out. Letters from Kunter Spilus will be coming out. So the Mela, that's so obviously you can't separate and say, is it a simcha because of the Gula of the Mittel Rebbe, or is it a simcha because of the Gula of the Torah of the Mittel Rebbe? Same thing. The Alter Rebbe is also the same thing. So the bottom line is that the Chag HaGeula should be for every one of us a Chag HaGeula that every single day we should be living with the things that we're learning in Tanya, with the things that we're learning in the Torah, Or. The Mittel Rebbe said that his biggest quest is when two Chassidim will meet, that they will talk about Yichud Elo, Yichud Torah.
Wow.
So obviously, I think if me and you got together and we were talking about a pshat and Lakutei Sichos, that's probably not that me and you will meet and we talk about the weather, about politics, about this, about that, things that we're mispal from it, things that we care about. Then what do we care about? Achtis of the Eibush in the Welt, Yehuda Elo, Yehuda Torah, this Yehuda, that Yehuda, but the Yehuda of Ein Sof. So L'chaim, the Chag HaGeula from the Mittel Rebbe, the Chag HaGeula Alter Rebbe should be mispal in us. It should be alive in us every day in our life.
Amen.
L'chaim. I did it, he said it, I did 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 it, Hey, ay, 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 did it, ay, 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 One of the beautiful stories I told about the Mittler Rebbe. Mittler Rebbe had a kapelya. Spoke about the kapelya, and there was kapelya and kozak. Kapelya meant the people that were in the choir, and they also had instruments. They had those that played wind instruments, string instruments, um, so on. They had the full choir. Wow. That people played flute and violin, v'chulu. They had them.
Why? You like that? Or?
Yeah, but the Alter Rebbe.
When does this final?
The Alter Rebbe said that the Yidden are Bali Shir, called Bali Shir, Yoitzim B'Shir, V'Nechnosim B'Shir. Oh, so this is the story I want to tell. The Alter Rebbe said, the Mittler Rebbe said one day, it was not for Shabbos or Chodesh, it wasn't a special day that L'Chodesh, and he said that he wants the full show, full Monty.
Right.
It was the half show was when the guys were singing and then they had the instruments. The full show was they had horses and they would have the kozak that the choir was singing and the instruments were playing, and then they had the horses and they would do acrobats like the kozak, and they would jump from horse to horse, whatever. It was a horse show. If you've been to the circus, they don't have circus anymore. When the kids were small, I used to take them to Barn and Balin. Not around. The horses are not around anymore. The elephants are not there anymore, so we don't take the kids anymore to the circus. Circus.
Circus is in the street now.
They say you are hurting the animals.
Yeah. So, but I remember
Human rights.
Huh?
No, the real reason is it's became too expensive.
you think so?
No problem. That's
The Marozovs weren't giving the revenue from the Marozovs are not good enough. We remember we went. There was a Big Apple circus. I remember the kids loved it. There were horses. The 3 horses are running around. Guys are jumping from one horse to the other. And I said, "Wow, this is the Kazakin in the Mittler Rebbe's Kapelya. This is probably what it looked like." And they were, and the band was playing, and the guys were singing, and the horses were running around, and the Kazakin were jumping. The Kazakin means that the Siddim that were dressed like the performers. I called them the Kazakin. And all of a sudden, there was a scream that the son of the Mittler Rebbe, Reb Nachum, fell. Rachmana litzlan. They thought that they called the doctor, and they told the Mittler Rebbe. The Mittler Rebbe said they should continue. They should continue. Lebedik. They should continue. They shouldn't stop the show. So they continued the show, and eventually the Mittler Rebbe said, "Okay, fine." And when the doctor came, it turned out it wasn't so bad. He broke a leg, fixed it up, be in bed rest for a couple of weeks. It wasn't gefährlich. So they asked the Mittler Rebbe, "What happened that your son fell?" They thought Rachmana litzlan the worst thing, and you just say they should continue the music. He said, "You should have asked me a better question. Why Stam Mittwoch that I asked that they should do the full Monty, the whole show? Because I realized that there was a Gzeira against my son Reb Nachum." See how everything is different than what we think. When the big Gzeira, there was a Gzeira on my son Reb Nachum. And the Simcha is Mamtik Dinim. The Simcha is Mamtik Dinim. So I wanted the Kapelya is going to sing and they're going to dance. I mean, Mamtik Dinim. When he fell off, I realized that there wasn't the full Amtakas Dinim. So I said they should continue, more Lebedik. And you see, Baruch Hashem, there was only a little thing. He broke a leg, and even that's going to heal, and there'll be no Roshim from this. So I think about this. If you were running a circus and you put your son on the horse, and then he jumped and an accident happened.
You were still next to him.
And no, not only that, you feel guilty, right? It's your fault. The Mittler Rebbe is different. It's like right? A regular person would say they feel guilty. It's my fault. I put my son in the situation. What's at fault, guilty. The Mittler Rebbe was the other way. Yeah, I said that this should happen. This is part of the plan. I want to be mamtik dinim. The reason I'm telling you the story because it's a beautiful story that's shaykh to us. I was thinking of the story in Simchas Torah. Shliach asked me a few days ago. Said, "How did you what happened here in Simchas Torah? Did you know what went on? And if you knew what went on, so what did you do?" So I said, the truth is, we knew, but I didn't see any pictures. I still didn't see any pictures. I didn't hear any reports. So it's easier when you don't really, you hear from the outside, but you don't plug in. So it's easier. The shliach said that the same thing was by him. He was like, after Yom Tov, when he saw the pictures of what happened, he asked their Balabatim, they're not religious. Obviously, they all.
You knew already.
You knew everything.
How come you didn't tell me?
How come? So see, how come you didn't tell me anything? So they said, Rabbi, well, we were so excited. We thought that there's not one Jew in the whole world dancing now. And you are the only, you're the only guy that's dancing. So we said, it's great. One person is dancing. I think in every base Chabad, everyone said the same thing to themselves. What would the Rebbe want us to do? And the Rebbe would want us to dance.
Some of them about the security guy came to the rabbi and showed him the video.
I've seen him ashking. He wouldn't stop. He would not stop going around the circle.
By the way, in the LA now was about 15 Israeli soldiers got wounded in this 3 weeks ago. And Chabad brought him with the mother, with the wife, the 30 of them.
Wow, very nice.
Talking to them.
Brought them where?
I was crying talking to them. But they're all right now.
Wow.
Now?
Very nice.
Because last week they brought 250 people that
Yeah.
That's why I turned around and went somewhere else. I was like,
You did that
I was in 5 towns. I was going to go. I was like, okay, whatever. It's only 15 minutes away. And I was like, oh, they're all there now. Forget it.
Right.
Another time.
How'd you know?
Everyone knew, but yeah.
Anyways, I was like, let me just.
It was the talk of the town. Even I knew that. See?
which McVeigh you use?
The newsletter. The Mittler had a story that I heard one time that the Alter Rebbe Farbrengen with him in L'chaim. I don't remember the whole details. Remember something like that? The Alter Rebbe made him to drink.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember what the Alter Rebbe used as a comment.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful story. That the Alter Rebbe once found out that his son is writing Chassidus. So he asked Mittler Rebbe's wife to bring him a notebook. There's a similar story with Tzemach Tzedek, so I'm trying to not to get, because they're probably both Jewish, and they're a little different. The story, it's an andamaisa. The Mittler Rebbe's wife is that's the best story. I mean, I always loved the story, but it turns out the story is that there was a Malamed that had many daughters, and he came to the Alter Rebbe and said, Naoraman, I have a bunch of daughters. I think he said he had 8 daughters, 9 daughters, he had 10 daughters, he had a lot of daughters. And he says, Naoraman, I have nothing. Who wants to make a shidduch with me? What am I going to do? So the Mittler Rebbe said, you know what? The Alter Rebbe said, you know what? No big deal. Do you have a daughter that's shidduch? She says, yeah, my oldest daughter, Shana. She'll marry my son. Now you'll become my mechut, and everyone's going to want to marry other children. And then the Alter Rebbe called his Rebbetzin and asked her, what do you think about the girl? She said, yeah, she's a good girl. So she went to ask her son, what do you think about it? So he said, sure, we're ready right now. So he said, because as soon as I'll get engaged, Alter Rebbe is going to say a maimer, and another maimer.
He wants more.
Yeah. that made the shidduch. I love the story. There's so many nekudas in the story, but there's like shidduchim are so complicated today. It seemed to be pretty simple here. So the wife of the Mitzvah brought him a notebook, and the Alter Rebbe was very impressed. So the Alter Rebbe told his wife that tonight I'm having an unbelievable. I'm having one of the tshuve, whatever he said, one of the big tzaddikim are coming to visit me. So she said, okay. So she made an unbelievable dinner. One of the big tzaddikim are coming to visit the Alter Rebbe, and he called for the Mittler Rebbe to come. So she made the Suda, and the Alter Rebbe sat down with him. He asked him to wash, and they sat down and said, say something. And Mittler Rebbe couldn't talk, I guess, in front of his father. And he said, I can't say anything. So he gave him a cup of mashke, and he drank it. No, say something. And like the Gemara says about Rebbe, the Rebbe always brings it. That the Rebbe, there was another one that they came there, and the Rebbe, one of them said Bar and they refused. So he said, just give them a lot of wine. They didn't have what to give them a damn bottle. So they didn't even have Iraq. You see, if they would have had Iraq. They would have had Iraq in Iraq. They would have. He said, the Alter Rebbe kept on giving him one cup and another cup and another cup and another cup until the Mittler Rebbe opened his mouth and started to say, and l'chaim. And then the Alter Rebbe was besimcha gedola. And when the Mittler Rebbe left, the wife said to him, you said that there's a tzaddik coming tonight. He said he was just here. He was here and he left. It's our son. Adarshan good. That's the story that you wanted to hear. So, Chaim. The Rebbe has a koch about Yud Kislev that the Rebbe says Gehem Chayim. Like the Rebbe says, a lot of times people, when they try to talk about the Alter Rebbe and the Siddur, that the Jews were hurting. The Jews were bleeding after the Gzeres Tach B'Tat, and every Jew was walking with his head down. And Jews were not safe. Jews were poor, and Jews were broken. And maybe the Talmid Chachamim, but Shut Am Mamish broken. And the Hashem came along and brought Simcha to Klal Yisrael, and that's true. It's true. The Rebbe says that's also wrong. Just like you can't say that the Jews were suffering in Mitzrayim. And the Torah came, and now through the Torah we understand why we need to be in Mitzrayim. The Torah gives us freedom. The Torah heals us. It says by Mount Torah everyone was healed. It's true. All these things happen. Torah gives us perspective, so when a person's suffering, you can understand why. So it's easier to take that journey. And Torah gives Kedus, Torah heals. But that's not what the Torah is. Torah is Kehim Chayenu. Torah is Eirah. Torah is our life. Torah is our oxygen. Automatically, we have healing from it. We have perspective from the Torah. So this is the same thing. Like again, the Alter Rebbe said, the Mittler Rebbe, that if you said that someone said if he cut his finger, wouldn't see blood, you'd see chassidus. And that the Mittler Rebbe said that I'd like my chassidim when they meet should be chud eloi chud tata. Why? That's their life. Kehim Chayenu. So the Rebbe said that it's true. When the Baal Shem Tov came along, and it was Megala Torah Chassidus, so it healed the Jewish heart. It brought a lot of simcha to the Jewish world. Like I mentioned before, someone tells me I'm learning Tanya. I can't. Wow, Tanya is so amazing. Yeah, the Torah, just like the Gufa Derais and the Shmosa Derais, it reveals the neshama of a yid and how to connect the neshama of the Eibishter. So automatically there's healing that comes from Torah Sachsid, the spiritual healing, v'chulu. But the heart is that this is the neshama of Torah. So l'chaim. Every one of us should have a geula protis, and the geula that we have in our avodas Hashem from our Yetzirah, from our goysha b'kirbacha, we should get rid of the goyim, the real those with the gezetz the goyim, those goyim that need to be put down, that they should all put down. We should have a geula shleima. L'chaim. Teran Nosef Kosai Ki Zamrala Aves nafshi asher kodiyisa Teran Nosef Chosai Iyaz Amrama Aves nafshi asher kodiyisa Aylene Lai 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 now it's the first time we had the light flashing and next time she in the money so I got passing by now then I then I Sign find my then I side yes I'm brother Ay ve yes nafshi asher kodiyisa Radin is it for sign Zambra Kia Zambra Snapshi for that Hey
Davening today. I think I'll look back and I said, what's going on? Like, what about that? So Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving this year, the Kviyas is also Leah said, "Thank you, Hashem," in this week's parsha.
Oh, Pamoide, ja. Chitas. Chitas, leben mit der Parsche.
Yeah.
Mit der Parsha.
Leben mit der Zeit.
Is that this week also?
Ja, Pamoide.
That's this week.
Wow.
Yeah, sure.
Wow.
I was saying, you remember that bris, the day we had the bris by
Today, Scott? I didn't.
it was the same day the bris of the Mila that it's in
No, that
Avraham.
was yesterday.
Right, when we
Today's
had.
the same day.
Yeah.
I was like, I
think-
walking home,
I
it's
think
like, no, Chitas. I'm like, whoop. Wow, it's the same day. Baruch Hashem, no, so Gila. So I had a whole,
No, Zog.
no,
What's that?
no, so I want to hear.
So there's a.
No, Thanksgiving, what the
Oh, Thanksgiving? Is it
That's
Zama Moshe Drizzen makes tonight?
Tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow night?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow night?
Not tomorrow, tomorrow
Yeah.
afternoon.
Yeah. Tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night.
On the 4:30.
It's 4:30. What's 4:30? 4:30 by
Yeah, you're gonna give him turkey? You have turkey?
No, he wanna
food. No,
Well,
it's just
place.
food.
pick.
Oh, not turkey?
Not about turkey. For them, it's not about the turkey. It's about him bringing people together to eat dinner and kosher dinner.
And a
It's
big
interesting. People are
machlokas.
coming. People are coming from far for him.
Yeah, he has
That's
150
over
people.
100 people.
100 people.
I think you should go and make a visit.
Rabbi, half of them I know them
Come,
used to come to me to my house.
Well,
What? He's what?
his customers.
Oh, his customer. Oh.
Used to come to my house.
The Rebbe told a story. It's, like I said, the Rebbe. It's not so much a storyteller, but over the years, there's a lot of beautiful stories that the Rebbe picked to tell. The Rebbe said he heard this from his father-in-law, that there were two brothers, Mitkin Groschen and the Keshen, without a red cent in their pocket, and in the Altaheim, and one of them moved to the United States of America. He became extremely wealthy. And he wanted his brother to see, he wanted to, so he sent his brother money to get a ticket, boat, to go by boat to the United States. But the brother wasn't interested. Wives was not interested in coming to the United States. So, back then, people that came to America was, and a lot of times families got divided that way. People that were more frum wanted to stay in Europe. People that didn't care that much came to the United States. So he wasn't interested. But he had a couple of daughters, and he couldn't marry off his daughters. He didn't have any money. So he decided he'll go. His brother will give him some money. It's Kedai. So he came to New York, and the brother came to greet him. He brought him to his house, and he was so excited to show off to his brother his house, and he is 20 rooms, and he takes him around, And then he apparently lives in Manhattan in a building. He takes him a skyscraper. A Wolkenkratzer. It's called in Yiddish. A Wolkenkratzer. I'm just telling you the way it's said in the Sikha. A Wolkenkratzer. So he took him on top of the building. He showed him this side of New York, the other side. And the rich man is walking around. He sees his brother disappeared. And he finds his brother's diving in München. So he says, well, I'm giving you a tour of my house. Well, can I have München later? He said, oh, yeah, I feel so bad for you. And he says, I'm living in a little town and I have one room. The whole house is one room and I have Daigus. You have 20 rooms. You have this. How much Daigus must be? I just can't. My head is spinning. My head is spinning. How many Daigus you must have? How much Daigus you must have? Shlomo Melech says, that please don't give me, I don't want to be too poor, I don't want to be too rich. Lechem chuki. That's what Shlomo Melech says. There is a nisayon of anius, because that's obvious. The person's in pain, the kids know how he's going to put bread on the table, how he's going to feed the family. And then there's mar b'nachos and mar b'daiga. That's also a certain nisayon. It's also a strong, very strong nisayon. How do you stand up to these things? So Hasidus, which is nishmosa, we see that a person that learns and lives with the Torah of the Alter Rebbe and the Mittel Rebbe, it's just like in every mitzvah of tefillin. So Shulchan Aruch says if the shibud the Meich Valev should have Hesach Hadas. Should have Hesach Hadas. My father always tells me about the different yechidus he had throughout the years. And before his bar mitzvah, they have asked him, "No, what are you going to say as a pilpul?" So he said he's going to say he's going to say Shagas Aryas. I think it's something Yud Beis Yud Gimel Behesach Hadas Tefillin. So it's like so funny. All different people tell you stories what the Rebbe asked them. He's like, it's like always the Rebbe always asks very simple questions. It's like mamish. The Rebbe didn't try to ever, like give someone a bad feeling. It was the year before, my father told me that Rebbe asked him about Hilchos Tefillin. So the din is that to appear at Tefillin are two separate mitzvahs, Tefillin Shal Yad and Tefillin Shal Rosh. So the Rebbe asked him, what happens if Rachmana Litzlan, the person doesn't have a hand and he can't put on Tefillin, but he still put on Tefillin Shal Rosh? Apparently it happened to a lot of people. The Rebbe, I think, liked this.
It's very.
So he said, it's two separate mitzvahs, so you just put it on your head. So then the Rebbe said, no, what happens if the person doesn't have a head? So the Rebbe asked my father, no, so what's Hesach Hadas B'Tefillin? Like, not Lomdus. What does it mean to have Hesach Hadas? So my father can't get over it himself. Like everybody was, if you know my father, you can imagine he was a very, very sincere kid, mamish, like pure. So he said to Rebbe Taka, I was learning the Shagas Arya, but I didn't understand what's Hesach Hadas. So I asked my Rabbi, forget now, what's the Shahid? No. Anyway, so the Rebbe was like smiling. I was like, here's a kid is telling you a big topel about Hesach Hadas. What's Hesach Hadas? Me and you understand very good what's Hesach Hadas. We're thinking about what's going on in China, what's going on in Malaysia, what's going on in Israel, what's going on in Hamas, what's going on in Gaza. You're a little angry at the BBC for the way they're telling the story about Israel, a little bit or a lot of it. And and you're talking Stam Shtus and going to your head about this, about that.
You don't understand. Concept.
That's what the Rebbe was asking. You're saying a whole pilpul for the Shagas high. That's a film.
You don't live it. You don't understand.
Right, you don't understand. So we and you know what's Hesach Hadas.
What the answer?
He did. The Rebbe smiled.
That's not answer.
Yeah. What's Hesach Hadas? We and you know what's Hesach Hadas. So when you go into the Nishmosa, the Raisa, That's the only way to really. So when you go into Nishmas Erais, if you learn a Maimer, for example, it doesn't happen every Tuesday, every Wednesday. It's a Trefz Chamol on a Maimer, and you get excited, and you get into the Neshama. So it touches your Neshama, and you're excited about your Neshama touching the Eibishter's Neshama, the Neshama of the Welt. So that really helps a person not to have Hesach Hadas. Otherwise, how are you not going to have Hesach Hadas? Obviously, you're going to have Hesach Hadas.
Put the phone away.
Hey, what are you going to do? How are you going to do? So that makes the person Agaborcha. We know that the Rebbe had a big thing that every Yid should be wealthy. The Rebbe wanted that every Yid should be wealthy. It says Reish v'Oisher al titanli. Apparently, the Rebbe felt that we have what it takes because regular generations they couldn't deal with it. If a person is an Osher Godel, he has a lot of daigas. There's a lot of daigas. But the Rebbe felt that no, that his chassidim, even if they'll be wealthy, they'll be marb nechosim, they're not going to have daigas. The Mishnah in the Pirkei Avos says marb nechosim, marb daigas, is talking about a nature. It doesn't mean that me and you can buck the trend. It doesn't mean that that's the nature. Marb nechosim, marb daigas. But if you learn a Geschmack Maimah from the Alter Rebbe, the Mittel Rebbe, you learn Lakut Torah, Lakut Sichos, and then you daven, you could plug out. If you're following it, big worries. You're excited about the Maimer, and you daven with a Chayis, a Shayach. So, it's Lishitose, because the Rebbe, in his mind, it was, don't worry, Eden will be healthy. And what he's scared? Reish v'Oisher al titanli. Don't worry, they have a way. Don't worry.
What about
Like Jimmy Garari, yeah?
what about
The story. That's what you want to say?
if only people raise their
Oh no, I thought you wanted to say the story.
Oh.
Jimmy Garari.
Why not?
1 second. The story Jimmy Garari was that the Rebbe went to be Menachem Avel, his father-in-law, the Kapishnitz Rebbe. So the Kapishnitz Rebbe told him that they have a Kabbalah in the family. Something about that. One of the that the sign of Ashid is the worst thing. So the Rebbe told him it's not true. And they got into an argument about it. So at the end, the Rebbe said, "You know what? Like something like, just say that I'm right, something like that. Like, just." So he said, "Okay." No problem. So Jimmy Garari said that was for him. That was for him.
Because you wanted to have him be wealthy.
Yeah, so that was for Jimmy Garari said it was for him because he was at the Zoy.
It's like the doctor we spoke yesterday.
At the Zaktazalik. So the Rebbe wanted his chassidim. The Mishnah says marba nechosim marba dagid. The Mishnah is saying a teva. That's the teva. A person has a lot of nechosim, has a lot of dagid. But it doesn't mean that if a person is not going to learn kunta, say spilus, and learn a geschmack and maima before davening, that he can't plug out and not have hesach hadas betfilah. For sure, he could do it. That's why the Rebbe, don't worry, give the Eden out, should be ba'achava, time l'chaim.
So now one of the guy Rebbe said like something about like all of those days where they had their port, the times they report. We can handle the rich. Let's try this.
Okay, let's try this way now.
Let's see how it goes. Let's see if we can handle it, and we'll go from there.
Time l'chaim, kain tiyalonu.
Okay.
Okay, let's do again the kapelli. Ay, did it, ay, did it, Judith Sichlovsky, L'chaim Ladikri should be a geula and avoid this Hashem, and we Ebishal it should be a geula for all the Yidden. It's like such a painful thing. I think yeah, it's
Yeah, I saw a video just now. Somebody posted
someone already out.
a video. No, a video of the Rebbe screaming about it. He wasn't saying it in words. He was just describing the situation. Yeah, in the same situation that what are you gaining from letting murders out? He basically was against it.
I don't know. It's complex.
What? No, I'm saying no. But he details the same way now. Nothing different. Huh?
I thought they're releasing children and women, Palestinian children and women. Not 3-1.
3-1.
I think it is.
So he's making fun also in his policy about not giving an inch. They're not letting them bully us.
No, but the Rebbe said that there's other ways to get these kidnappers. That's what he said. The Rebbe put it down now. There's other ways to get back our people.
They're working on it.
No, the Ebishal there should be much.
Yeah,
Every one of them, every one of these Yidden should come home. They should come Chag Geula should be a Geula for all these Yidden. L'chaim.
Everybody should try to bring one person, two persons to the Farbrengen Kislev.
Yes, Yud Kislev, we're having a beautiful Farbrengen. We're having one of the Rosh Yeshiva 770, Rabbi Gazinski.
We
can
Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday Mit Hashem.
So
Reb Shaul from the Farbrengen should be Batzlocha.
I'm saying
Let's have him.
if they are alive, they should come back alive, and Chas v'Shalom, not that their body should be back because that is the worst. Not to have
They're in cars.
Huh?
They're burying the cars.
Halacha wise.
Yeah.
Too much blood inside the country.
No, they can't get anything.
And couldn't go to pieces of the people.
They're going inside the car.
Right.
There's nothing to take.
They're burying the cars.
Zaka will very, very hard.
But they squish it probably.
Who could be a cousin provider?
It's not compromise.
Right. Yeah, just bury as is.
I think they're burying it just like this. They're taking, they're schlepping the cars.
Where are they burying it?
I don't know.
Right in Gaza.
Yeah, they should bury it in Gaza.
No, he didn't make the Arab.
Good night.